Welcome to the Bookish Spell, your cozy corner for all things bookish. I'm Angie, your host, and each week I'll be diving into the magical world of books, sharing reviews, author interviews, and so much more. New episodes drop every Wednesday, so grab a cup of coffee and get ready to turn the page with me.
Yes, always. Miami is just crazy.
I've never been to Miami.
My parents used to live there and
Mm,
I never drove there. I
mm.
couldn't drive in Miami. It
Oh,
scared me.
yeah. Well, I've been in Seattle for the last like 4 years. I just moved back home a couple months
Mhm.
ago to Phoenix. I didn't drive for 4 years, just to put it that way.
Really?
Like when you're on like what they call like the south side of Seattle, the little suburby type towns, I would drive all over there. But in the actual city, no way. People drive on the opposite side of the road. You have the like just random people running in the street and they intentionally want to get hit by cars. They're like just walking with their head in the clouds with a bunch of ongoing traffic.
Really?
Mhm. Like, and it freaks me out when there's people driving on the wrong side of the road. Like, it happened on more than one occasion.
Yeah. Is it pretty? I've always wanted to go to Seattle.
It's beautiful. It really is. It's beautiful there, but not a place to live if you have a family.
Okay.
Like if it was just me and my husband, we would be living it up in a tiny apartment and wouldn't care. Love because that Seattle as well. You walk out that door, there is a million and one things to do. You know,
Okay.
it is so fun. There's always something to do, always something new. Like there's always something going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not easy with a family, especially living in the city.
Mm-hmm.
The apartments are small and they're expensive. And like we was living in a
Mm.
studio apartment. We're a family of four. Like we only could
Yeah.
only lasted so long. The kids got too big. We all can't sleep in one room.
Yeah. I
So
I get that. Yeah.
yeah.
Here we like our space here in
Mhm.
Florida.
Mhm.
It's interesting because when you go to different places, you're like, okay, for like New York, you try to fit as much as you can in a small space. Here, not so much. Like we enjoy our square footage in our house. And we were in Minnesota for a few months this summer, and it seems like the houses that we were seeing, they also like their space and their yards and,
Mhm.
you know, to explore different things. And I'm like, okay, these are my kind of people. I don't like to be all just lumped into one space.
Mhm. And that is what you will have in Seattle.
It would drive me
Um,
nuts.
it is not easy. Uh, you have to go to like one of the more like I guess you call rougher areas just
Hmm.
to get a house with multiple bedrooms because it's so expensive. It's like 2 grand for a studio, but if you go to an actual one bedroom apartment or even go as far as increasing the bedrooms, you're looking into the 25, 3,000. Where here in Arizona, you can get for $2,000, 1,800. You can get a 4 bedroom house with 3 bathrooms.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. It,
Crazy.
mm-mm. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't, that's crazy to me.
Mhm.
Like we've been in our house for, I don't know, 15 years already, but
Mhm.
we have 4 bedrooms and we like our space. We have zero
Mhm.
intention of leaving it.
Mhm.
Um, because we think about it, if we were to move somewhere else, we would be downsizing essentially. And no,
Mhm. Yeah.
I have my 2 kids and my husband, so it's like we each kind of have our own corner.
Nice.
if we get sick of each other.
That's always nice.
Yeah. I mean, considering that my kids are 9 and 3,
Ooh.
you know, they
Mm.
they don't necessarily get tired of us, but sometimes I'm like, I just need some space for
Mhm.
about 5 minutes because
Yeah.
you're overstimulating me.
Really.
Especially my 3-year-old. He's very clingy. He's a mama's boy, so
Oh.
it's he's so funny. My husband's like he hangs on to you like a monkey. I'm like, yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If he can't find me, he's like, where's my mommy? I'm like, God, you sound like a psychopath.
My sister-in-law, she has two boys really close in age, is like 3 and 2. So like they start calling her, and she's like waiting a long time to be a mom. So like she's enjoying every moment. So now like the older one's talking more. This was a while ago, and saying mommy. He calls her mommy, and she's like, "Don't you just love when they call you mommy?" I'm like, no, it's creepy.
Yeah.
You think about it, it's every scary movie ever made.
Mhm. Yeah. It's so funny because I went to look for something the other day in the closet and I wasn't even away from him for 2 minutes. And all I hear is, where'd my mommy go? And granted, I just finished listening to Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline
Oh God.
and started listening to Lights Out.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, we we need to take a time out, buddy. Like I'm right here.
Oh,
I didn't
hilarious.
go missing. I didn't disappear on purpose. Um, so it's so funny.
How old is
Boys
he?
can be a little clingy. He's 3,
Mm.
but he's my
What?
my daughter is she's a daddy's girl through and through.
Oh,
She will throw me under the bus
mm.
any second of the day.
Mm.
Like she will tell on me
Cause she,
straight up. She will tell on me. She's like, Papa, Mama's mad at me. And he's like, well, she's probably mad at you for a reason.
oh, that's cute. That is too cute.
It's great. You know, they keep life interesting.
My daughter is 3. She just turned 3, and me and her came out to Phoenix first. My husband and my son stood back, finished up some other things. We kept one kid apiece. That would make whatever we're doing a little bit easier. There's no way I could have handled both of them by myself while getting stuff ready here. But it was a while. It ended up being like a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
And she was loving her life because she's a girl's girl.
Okay.
She loves Girls' Day. She loves Starbucks. She loves coffee. She loves just everything to do with just girls.
Hmm.
And she's obsessed with me, and that's all that matters. It's me and her. So she's loving her life because she's thinking now that we're in this house and we made like a girl clubhouse for ourselves. She thinks. So my husband, my son, finally get back in town to get on this side. Well, the face that she made when we opened the door and they were at the door, she just like we opened the door, she just looks, no, I gotta run away. And she just bolts to the back. She tells me, Mom, run. Oh
I
God.
love it.
She cried for like the entire night. She don't want the boys there. Not one hug, I miss you, nothing for her father and her brother. So the next morning,
Wow.
so, um, on my computer, she wakes up. My husband gets her. She still sleeps in her playpen. Gets her out of her crib, puts her in the bed with him. He's like he hasn't seen her in 3 weeks. Uh, she runs. She jumps off the bed. Mom, run! Dad, Henry's in my bed. It is bad. I'm not even joking. You. Just last night, she became friends with him again.
Nice.
She was hurtful.
Yeah, my son, he he will drop his dad.
Hmm.
Like he's like, I don't even think he realizes that I'm his dad. Like he just completely ignores him.
Hmm.
And my daughter, if I tell her we're having a girls' day, she is perfectly happy. She knows that I love shopping. We
Hmm.
both have a love of books and
Aw.
all of those things. So if we're at the mall and she sees a bookstore, she'll grab me by the hand. She's like, "Come on, Mama, let's go to the bookstore." Because she
Aw.
knows that she can just sucker me into buying
Yeah.
any type of book. Target, she knows that the two of us at Target can do some damage.
Yeah.
The same as Five Below. Like she
Oh,
knows that she can't sucker her dad in that regard.
mhm.
But to get her way at home, oh, 100%. She's like, bump you, mom. I will do whatever I want with dad. Like she, and it's just the funniest thing because he tries to be like this manly man, and I'm like, how's it feel? How's it feel to have a little 9-year old just control you like a little puppet?
Mhm. That's what I told my husband because like she never was really close to her dad. Like just she just loves her mom from day one. And I always tell him, I know what your problem is. Her name's Penelope. So Penelope is a real life princess. If you're not gonna treat her nice, if you're not gonna treat her like a
Yeah.
princess, if you're not gonna be ooh and ah over every step that she makes, she wants nothing to do with you. And it's so bad that I will admit that to everyone that I raised her to be that way. And I will tell
Love
everyone
it.
that because she doesn't like people. Like it's hard for her to like. She don't just go and hug someone and be
Yeah.
nice. I'll tell everybody like family members treat her like a princess, and you'll see a difference. So they'll. Oh my goodness, princess, your dress is so pretty. Look at your hair. Come on, princess. Do you want a cookie? And that's it. She'll love you forever. My husband's so stubborn. He won't do it for nothing in the
That's funny. I tried to be, the hard one. It didn't
world.
work. I mean, she is a princess, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
mean, we fight over my husband. Like we we will argue over
mm,
him. I'm like, you do know that I saw him first. She's like, no, you didn't. He's mine. I'm
oh my
like, no, but he's my husband. I said, he's mine. He was mine first. She will sit there and swear up and down
God.
that he is hers and that he loves her more. And
Mm,
I mean, it is just a love fest with the two of them. And
aw.
so when I had Samuel, Heidi, I mean, at 6 years old, she's like, so I'm Papa's and Sammy is yours. Like she said, this is how it's going to be. You have
Mm, yeah,
Sammy, I have my dad, and that's it.
life is
Like,
good.
life is good. Life is gravy. And she, um, it's funny because she can be very affectionate,
Mm-hmm.
but it's on her terms.
Yeah, definitely.
And so sometimes she'll go up to Sammy and like she'll like pat him on the head. And I'm like, he's not a dog, Heidi.
Just like her, like I love you.
And she's like you could just tell that she's like, I don't know what to do with him. She's like, he's just destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of dumps all the toys and she just doesn't know what to do. And so she's like, yeah, he's okay. He's fine. And I'm like, as long as they're not fighting, I guess that's
Yeah.
okay. But it's so funny because she's on the spectrum. And so She just has her moments where she wants to be next to her brother, and other times where she wants absolutely nothing to do with him. She's like, I don't even know why he's here.
My little boy is on the spectrum too. He's nonverbal, so he very, shows his affection with touching.
Mhm.
Like him and my daughter have zero to do with each other, pretty much.
Yeah.
But on the very like rare occasion, like we'll always like put them if they're playing the iPads, whatever. We'll put them next to each other, and he like likes to hold your hand when he's next to you.
Mhm.
He tries to hold his sister's hand. He goes ballistic and wants to beat him up for touching her hand. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. She, she'll just kind of, they coexist.
Yes, exactly. That is.
But like you said, if someone tries to take him, like, you're joking, oh, Sammy's going to stay the night at my house. No, he's not. He's going to come home. He's mine. No. You can't do that. And I'm like, okay, so at least you have some defensiveness against, with your brother. But it's just it's so funny just to how different kids can be, even though you're raising them the same. And that's part of the reason why I started writing this past summer, was because we were going through a lot with her.
Oh, really?
She got a kidney transplant in June, and so that's why we were in Minnesota. And she had, I lost count how many surgeries she's had. She'll be 10 in December. Her first surgery, she wasn't even a month old. And so we went through a lot, but this summer I kind of needed a pick-me-up. So one of the reasons why I wrote the book, like I said, was I was wanting to give her a future, just to kind of see her as an adult. And so that kind of got me through the last month that we were in Minnesota, just because I'm like, I got to think of something. I can't keep living in the hospital, basically. I mean, she was in and out of the hospital this year and this summer, and I just wanted, just something to look forward to. And so when I told my husband about it, he didn't quite understand. And so I had written a few chapters, and she was in the hospital at the time. And so he started reading, and he's like, it is so nice to imagine Heidi as an adult. He's like, because I can see it. I put her little quirks in the character. Just Heidi's very abrupt. She's very honest. Like,
I like it.
She don't hold back. Like, if she likes you, she likes you. She'll tell you she likes you. If she wants to hug you, she will smother you with a hug. But if she don't like you, she don't like you. And it's so funny because she's predicted to like not even clear 5 feet tall. She has like a chipmunky voice. She's probably one of the sweetest, most, like, you would never expect her to ever get angry. But when she does get angry, it's just comical, because it's just this tiny little body, and you're like, do you understand what that emotion is? And so when I started writing that this story, I was just imagining my sweet little 9-year-old as a 29-year-old. And I'm like, yeah, she's probably still going to be this way at 29.
I love it. How is your daughter doing now?
She's doing good. We finally came home in September. She's doing great. I mean, once she got the transplant,
Mhm.
she started getting infections,
Mm.
and we didn't really know why. And it turns out that her native kidney was infected. So they had to go in and remove it. But once that kidney was removed, everything just started
Oh,
stabilizing, and it was amazing. I mean, the
wow.
minute the doctor told us we could go home, we booked our flights.
Good. Good.
We're like, peace out. We're out of here.
Well, I'm happy here.
I mean, I don't know how I managed to be on an airplane
Mhm.
with both Samuel and Heidi by myself,
Oh, wow.
but we did it. We did it, and it was awesome. And I couldn't be more excited to be home.
Oh, I'm happy. Good.
I mean, we had been gone. Um, we left June 4th, June June 5th. We got the call at midnight.
Oh, a long time.
We had been we had just been in Rochester at the
Mm.
clinic the week before. They had told us that she was going to need dialysis. And, we're just praying and, just prayer chains and
Mm.
church. And we're like, all right, prayer warriors, like, we really got to step up.
Mm.
And then we got the call, not even a week later,
Good.
that there was a kidney.
Amazing.
And, oh, it was a miracle. I mean, the doctors had told us, that there was that she could have possibly matched with maybe 5% of the donor kidneys that were
Mhm.
out there, because her labs were coming all out of whack. And so that obviously wasn't very reassuring. We're like, oh great, what do we do now?
Wow.
So we got kidney, and we were staying at Ronald McDonald House.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was the three of us in the when you mentioned the studio apartment, we were confined,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of got sick of each other after
Mm-hmm.
3.5 months.
Oh, yeah. I imagine.
And my husband was still working. I was on leave for work, so I could take care of Heidi and take her to appointments. And it was just, this year has gone by so fast. Like,
Yeah,
I can't even like comprehend that it is November on
I know.
Friday.
It was a fast year, but you've been through a lot. You're in a better place. Your daughter's
I
better.
It's amazing. I'm
You
like,
start
God,
the new.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, we have so much to be thankful for this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Heidi loves the holidays.
Aw.
Like, if there's anything that that little girl loves, it's a party. And she's all about Thanksgiving. She's all
Aw.
about Christmas. And her birthday falls right in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So for a solid 2 months, that little girl is in celebration.
I love it. When
Yeah,
was her birthday in December?
December 6th.
Cute.
Same day as my mom.
Oh,
So
really?
yes, so they celebrate together.
Mm.
I'm like,
Is
sorry, mom, you're gonna have a bluey party this year.
that what kind of birthday she wants?
She's like, it's okay. We like bluey.
No, I mean your daughter. Is that she wants a Bluey birthday?
Hmm.
I love it.
Oh yeah, bluey's the best.
I love Bluey. All right. So this book that you was talking about, this is the one that you're still writing, right? It's not your poetry book, right?
So I Strawberry Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm it's I'm hoping that it can be like a trilogy, but the first one is already out. I self-published on Kindle. It's about Grayson and Rose, and then I'm writing the second one right now, which is about Rose's sister. But yeah, I kind of I didn't tell anybody that I was writing it until it was published on
Mm.
Kindle. And so when I sent it to like my family, they're like, "How did you keep this a secret?" I'm like, "Easy, I just didn't tell anybody."
Well, um, before we continue, how do I pronounce your name?
Honeliz.
Honeliz.
Yes.
Okay. Well, just for everyone who's listening, this is Honeliz.
Yes.
It's bothering me. Um, so what is this first book about then?
So this first one is Rose is based off of Heidi, and Rose has a genetic condition called Bardet-Biedl syndrome, and both of my kids have that, and it affects vision, kidneys. It affects a lot of the body systems, and so I wanted to have a medically complex character because you know they need love too.
Yeah.
And so the the male character, Grayson, he kind of shows up at the Rose's family's um, farm, and he's supposed to do an event for his job, for his company, and they kind of meet in that way. And it was kind of a love at first sight type of thing. I'm a hopeless romantic, and I just, those are my favorite books where it's like boy sees girl, boy falls in love with girl, get married happily ever after. And so it's it basically it talks about you go through what kind of Rose goes through where she has hospitalizations and a kidney biopsy and just things like that, and going to kidney rejection, and as well as having someone care for her that's not her parents, because as a mom, my hope is that when my kids are older and they do need someone to care for them, that it is their significant other. And I don't know if my children are going to be my forever babies, but I wanted to have that hope that Heidi does find love in the
Yeah.
future. And so when I was writing it, that's all I was thinking about was, for someone to treat her like a princess
I love.
and just spoil her rotten, and but love her for who she is, and not judge her,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like people can be very judgmental for
Yeah.
for people who are on the spectrum or have
Mm-hmm.
medical complexities and need those extra help,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because even, and I'm sure you've dealt with it as well with your son, if those accommodations sometimes feel like, oh, why?
Mm-hmm.
That's not nice. And even adults need those accommodations, and I just wanted to kind of present that
Mm-hmm.
and give Rose someone who would embrace those accommodations and assist her in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of created, I wanted to create the perfect book boyfriend.
I love it.
I'm like, let's see how we can do this. um, Because I'm like, we all want to be spoiled. We all want someone to treat us like the queens that we are.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I you kind of you meet her parents and his family and things like that. And I kind of put both my husband and I in the book as her parents and
Oh,
trying to accept the fact that your kids are growing up and that they do need to make decisions on their own and things like that. So I hope that when I do get to that point and my kids are adults, that I am as cool as her parents are in the book.
oh yeah,
So it was really exciting to just be able to create that future
I love
for
it.
for Heidi, but also just write my first book. The
Have you
words just
always
kind of
wanted
started.
to write?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What?
I started writing in middle school,
Mhm.
and I absolutely fell in love with it, but I never pursued it, which was super weird. Like I could probably go in my closet and pull out composition books of like short stories, and now looking back, I'm like, man, I wonder if I could have started this a while ago. But um, really, just this summer inspired me.
Mhm.
And reading the book Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez
Mhm.
pushed me to
I love it.
complete it.
Good.
Um, because it does talk about have you read it?
No,
It's
I,
amazing.
I saw my never-ending TBR, but never read.
It's so good. Like it inspired me. I didn't want that darn book to end.
Oh, really?
I'm like, where's the rest of it?
I love it.
Um, because it does talk about medical complexities and kidney transplants, and so I was like, okay, I can do this. I
Mm-hmm.
can I can do this, and so while I didn't go into super a lot of detail about the medical aspect of it, I still did want to um, be accurate because
I mean, yeah, you
I
bring awareness.
yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's important. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I just, sometimes you just don't know what someone else is going through just by looking at them.
Yeah.
And one of the things that in the book is, you know, um, when Grayson sees her for the first time, he's like, I would have never realized that she had so many health problems because she's so happy all the time. And that's what people say about Heidi. They're like,
No.
you see her jumping and running and climbing and singing, and you would never know that
Mm-mm.
she has so many things going on.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. Is that you like writing this book, creating this character Rose. Essentially, you're giving your daughter a voice where she didn't
Yeah.
know that stuff needs to be explained. Like you gave her
Yes.
her voice. So that was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah. It's funny that you put it that way. I want, I've always wanted her to be able to speak her mind.
Mm-hmm.
And, I tell her all the time, I'm like, hey, if you're upset, you can be upset.
Mm-hmm.
If you're mad at me, you can tell me that you're mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to tell me, don't hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to, especially with kids with special needs, you need to give them the ability to express themselves and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, I don't like this,
Mm-hmm.
or I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
you know, it's just it's one of those things that I really wanted that to come across in the book, but also that there are people who understand others in
Mm.
that way, and that they're able to still fall in love and have a future. And so I read it myself just to make sure that it all made sense. And I was like, oh, this is so sweet. I'm like, I really hope this happens for my Heidi. I hope that it's just this Prince Charming just walks into her life and she's just completely just blown away.
Well, if you think about it this way, writing this down essentially is a form of manifesting. You wrote it
Yes.
down, you bring it into the universe, and now you're
Yes.
bringing this person to her.
Yeah. It's like, God, here. I'm bringing this to your feet. I need you to give my baby girl a Prince Charming
Yeah.
because she needs him. She deserves him. I I really I had a lot of fun creating their characters, and my husband asked me, he goes, who's Grayson? Like, who inspired him? And I'm like, I don't
Oh,
know. I just wanted him to be the perfect boyfriend,
that's so
to
good.
say yes to everything.
Oh my goodness. I
He's
love it.
like, wow. I'm like, you don't get it. You don't read romance novels, so you don't understand that that's just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just be real. Like, even Zaid from Haunting Adeline, he's a total sociopath, but he does spoil her. Why not?
Exactly.
By the way, it's very funny when you listen to that book. Um, Teddy Hamilton did a great job, by the way.
Really?
I love that man. And in Lights Out, I had no idea what the book was about, but
Mm.
it's another stalker novel.
Oh, is it?
Yes. And he breaks into her car to take her home. She has no idea who he is, but he brings snacks. And I'm like, this should bother me. It should bother me.
Because the whole time I'm reading Haunting Adeline, all I think about is that meme where it's like the two people laughing, me and my friend getting kidnapped. And we're asking our kidnapper, like, why did you choose me?
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Why?
Like, I've known people who have tried to read it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't. It was just too much." And then when I started listening to it, I'm like, "What is wrong with me? Why am I laughing? Like, this isn't funny." But I'm like, probably because it's so far from my
Yeah.
actual life that it's just comical to me. And I'm
Yes.
like, and I'm a scaredy cat. Like, I don't watch scary movies. I'm
Mm.
terrified of I'm scared of the dark. But here I am listening to these books and just laughing hysterically at the absurdity.
I know. Let
And
me tell
I look I look at my husband, I'm like, honey, can you be my stalker? He's
you,
like, no, you weirdo.
ever since I started reading this book, I'm not even joking you. Well, I think it was night before last. I get up out of bed, but because now I think I'm seeing people walk around because my house has like every wall has like multiple windows, so I'm like windows everywhere, and it's like desert flat light. So like the windows aren't high. The windows come down to like where your hips are. You can see someone's whole body just standing out. There's
Yeah.
creepy. And this book got me like on edge, like thinking like, where's my stalker? Did he show up yet?
Yeah.
Oh, so jumpy. It actually scared me. Oh no.
Basically, you're like, oh my God, is there somebody in the attic? Like, what? Do I have an attic?
It's funny for me because since I've been here, I've never once, and I sit in this house by myself, just me and my daughter, never once had like a feeling like, oh, why is it scary? Or I'm scared of something, a noise at all. Not that my whole family's here, my husband's in the house. I found it funny that I just got up and I'm checking all the windows, making sure the doors are locked. Just from
Yeah.
the book. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then these AI videos don't help.
Oh God, I didn't watch any of them.
These AI videos on TikTok. I saw one right before I got on here, and it was, this creepy old
Oh,
house, and
those ones, yeah. Huh?
the guy, it's just a silhouette of somebody with a hoodie, and I'm like, yeah, I'd be mortified. But
Oh yeah.
it's different when you're reading it or
Mhm.
listening to it, and then when you're seeing it, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that if I saw someone outside my window, I would be calling 911, like 100%.
Mm, I
But I'm
know.
sitting here like, it's no big deal. It's fine.
Wasn't it? It was you that told me that Haunting Adeline was funny. Wasn't it
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Me
it was
too,
me.
and somebody else told me that too. So like every time like I'm reading it and I'm laughing at parts, I keep thinking about what you said and the other
Yes,
told me. Like it is funny. It's some
it
of the fun
is.
like far out there that it makes it funny.
Yes.
Some of the
Yeah,
things that Jade says is really super cheesy.
yeah,
It's funny.
it is. It really is. Like, it shouldn't be,
I know.
but it's just, I'm like, okay. But again, since it's so far out there and so different than our day to day, that it was it was
Good.
just comical. I mean, like you said, he says the cheesiest things, and just just the random things that he does, and I'm just like, oh my
I know.
God. I mean, the first time that he called her little mouse, I'm like, ugh, well, that's awkward. Like, I don't want someone calling me mouse. And then as you keep going, you're like, that's kind of a term of endearment. It's up there with princess.
I guess that's true. Oh, it's so good. I don't
And I'm
know.
like, wow. I'm like, I think I need therapy.
I got my sister, and she's my first cousin, but she was technically like her sister, I guess we can say.
Mhm.
They're seeing my videos on Instagram. My cousin tells me like, "Are you really liking Haunting Adeline?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, it's really good." And I'm telling them, but you guys, you're not gonna read it. You are not. This is like me and my sister are a little bit more same personality. Like we
Mhm.
like dark humor. My cousin, she cringes and gets freaked out if she hears bad
Right.
language. So you are not going to handle this book. Well, I want to read it. Like, go ahead, start it, but I promise you, you are not going to. And she's like, well, you made me read Hook. Is it as bad as Hook? My girl, Hook was child's play compared to what you're about to read.
Yes.
I'm, I'm waiting. I know my sister's gonna get through it. She's not excited, but I'm waiting to see what my cousin's what her review or reaction is gonna be.
Yeah. It's funny. I I went to the bookstore with my husband, and he passed by the romance section, and because he's nosy, he picked out a book. He just plucked it off the shelf, and I was around the corner doing something else. And he goes, oh my God, the first page that I read, it was talking about something, and I just can't believe it. And I'm like, what book were you reading? What book did you pick out? And it was one of like the first romance books that has like the red like spine,
Mm.
like the original like red book romance, from like the 80s. And I was like, honey, that's nothing. Like that's just I'm pretty sure I used the word child's play.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's nothing. I said that's a children's book compared to this other stuff. And sure enough, I picked out one of the other books, and he's like, what is this? And I'm like, I told you. This is, I said, that's beginner.
I know. I love doing like I read on my Kindle. Like I honestly have no books, physical books. They're all in my storage. I made a like ban for myself. Like I this whole year I bought 0 books because when I was buying books, my toddler was demolishing them.
Oh no.
Yeah, like she bends them, rips them. It was bad. So I told her I'm not buying them anymore. She destroyed like 2-3 books of mine. So now I'm just strictly Kindle. So I love like when I'm reading a book, especially because the line, I'll highlight the most gruesomest part and I'll show my husband, and he just looks at me like, you're a complete psycho.
Yeah, 100%.
So now anytime I'm reading and we're with family, he comes and like slaps the Kindle out of my hand. Why? Like nobody, they don't know what I'm reading. Like, why are you reading that with all your family?
Yeah. It's funny because when 50 Shades first came out,
I never read the books.
I read it on the Kindle,
Mm.
and my husband, he's like, he would tell on me to my family, and he's like, you guys don't even understand what you're reading. That's just so wrong. And he was just trying to get a rise out of them, and they didn't believe him.
That's funny.
And then my mom, unfortunately, was coerced to go see a movie with her friends.
Oh no, it's 50 Shades.
And she didn't know what it was about.
Oh God.
And poor mom. Poor mom. It was 50 Shades.
Oh God.
And she called me, and she's like, I'm traumatized. And I said, you poor thing. You should have read what the movie was about. She's like, I didn't believe your husband when he said that that's what you were reading. And I'm like, Mom, like you should have known what the movie was about. She's like, no, I really no.
That's
And
funny.
so, oh my God, it was great. Like she still tells me the story, and I still laugh as if it's like the first time I've heard it. It brings me so much joy that she was so uncomfortable. And so I was telling her about Haunting Adeline, and I said, Mom, I'm not going to tell you exactly what the movie's about or what the book is about. I said, because I know you're not going to read it. I said, the cover is just going to terrify you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mess with those books that you mess with.
I love it.
Like this poor lady. She is probably like, I have a psycho for her. So when I wrote Strawberry Falls,
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to her. I said, Mother, it's clean. There's no cursing. There's no sex scenes. I said, there's just sweet kisses, and that is all. And she's like, oh, okay. I said, I promise. I said, I wouldn't even know where to begin if I wanted to write spicy scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so it's okay.
Mhm.
And so when I shared it on my social media, I said, just so you know, my parents are reading these books. So, like, you could read it too. It's okay.
Well,
Because I'm like, I honestly don't know where I would begin.
mhm.
I would feel uncomfortable to write a spicy book just because
I feel very vulnerable. Like I don't know.
same.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll just do a sweet kiss. Like
Mhm.
we can just do that.
Mhm.
We can write that and
Yeah.
lovey-dovey type of things. And that's to the extent of my, you know, of that stuff. But it was just really funny because she's like, please tell me that I'm not going to read anything weird. I'm like, God, Mom. I'm like, I wouldn't send it to you.
Mhm, mhm.
Plus, I probably would have like a pen name.
I was just thinking, yeah, I just said that. Like that's probably the only way me too. No, but I want to have social media. You won't see my face and just
Nope.
type in mystery.
Nope. Yeah. I would, it would be a complete mystery as to who this person is.
Mhm.
But I don't think I would feel comfortable, especially going to church.
Your book is like trending #1 on Amazon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I you just got to be careful. I mean, I honestly like I commend writers. Like I think that's amazing that you're able to be that creative. I can't. All I can give you is a fictional town in Minnesota and you know, best friends falling in love and things like that. I can't.
Those are just as good too.
Yeah. I'm like, I know that there's a fan base for that because I'm part of that.
Mhm. So are
Like
your
my
books on Kindle, or
yeah.
can you order them on Amazon?
No, I haven't done physical copies. I'm not quite there yet. I wanted to see how I did on Kindle. I may do a couple copies, physical copies, just to have because I'm really proud of it. I'm like, not a lot of people can say that they wrote a book. So
Yeah, you need definitely one for yourself.
and so I want to do one for myself, but we'll see. Hopefully, hopefully I can get this second book finished in the next couple of weeks and we'll see how that goes. I'm
Do you
excited.
plan on staying like a self-published writer?
Probably. It costs a lot of money.
That's right here. Hmm. I
It's
mean,
it's
yep.
easy to self-publish on Kindle, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Um, it's as long as you have everything together and it's pretty easy to publish as long as it's your work, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think I'll keep doing that and we'll see where we go from there.
Nice.
Hopefully, it'll kind of pick up.
Well, yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to see how many pages people have read on Kindle.
Oh, you can see
Um,
that?
yes, it's so exciting. Like the orders, I have a couple orders here and there, and it's really exciting because I'm like, oh my gosh, someone bought my book. But you can see how many pages someone has read on Kindle Unlimited. It's really
Like,
cool.
you don't know like where they're at in the book. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
like
So
I'm fire everywhere. Yeah.
I want to see if someone makes like annotations
You could see that too.
I
What?
want to see if I can see it. Um, like if someone has like a question or something, because I think that would be really type of interaction. Um, but yeah, I love seeing, when it went from like 30 pages read, 100 pages read. I'm like, oh my gosh, so you're almost done.
That's pretty amazing.
And
You know,
then
and
when it was my mom finishes it, when my mom finished it, I could tell that she finished it, and I'm like, so mom, what do you think? She's like, you need to hurry up and get the second book out.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's so cute.
But yeah, it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I love Kindle Unlimited.
Mm.
It's like the best, however
Mm.
much money I pay every month for it.
It's not expensive. I think it's like $11.
It's awesome. Like the best $11 that I spent.
It really is. It's a genius idea.
I mean, it's awesome. And then I have Lord knows how many library apps
I know.
on my phone. I mean, I like if it's not on Kindle Unlimited, I'll look for it on the library. I'm like, okay, I can do this. But
Mhm.
what's really cool is when you download the book on Kindle and then you can get it at a discounted price on Audible.
Oh, is your book is like that, or you're just saying the book?
No, not my book.
Oh, I'm like,
No.
yep. Yes, yeah. It is cool because you get the audio and listen to it. A lot of people like to listen and read at the same time. I have
Yeah.
one of my family members does that actually.
I like it, especially when it's like a fantasy book and it has names that you probably can't
Oh
pronounce.
yes, yes.
Like that's very beneficial.
Mhm. I was just telling my sister this yesterday. From day one, from the moment I read, I was a heavy fantasy, all things fake, all things unrealistic. I was a child that lived in the clouds all
Mhm.
my life. I I actually hate saying it, but I think I outgrew heavy fantasy.
Yeah, it's
I know
possible.
it's like very sad to me because I was telling like my sister like the whole like Akatar series that is up my alley. I know I would eat that up and I would love it. I'm
Yeah,
reading those books, the Court of Thorns and Roses or whatever, but they're not bad, but they're also not freaking out like I know I would.
yeah,
It's like I told my sister, why do I like Fourth Wing better than Akatar? And I'm thinking of telling her I know what it is. Fourth Wing is not as heavily fantasy as
yeah.
Akatar is. So I think I just can't do the whole super fantasy anymore. I don't know. It's really bad.
Well, it's very similar to I go through phases.
Mm.
I went through a like mafia romance phase where I'm
Actually,
like,
the Mafia 2 weeks ago.
love them.
It was good.
I absolutely love them. I'm like, okay, I didn't think I would be into this, but
Mhm,
okay.
mhm,
And then the fantasy romance, love it, but
mhm.
also now the dark romance
Maybe that's
or
what I'm like.
even like dark romance and comedy. I'm
Mm,
like, I mean, rom-coms, love them.
mhm,
Like
mhm,
if your book has me laughing, like
mhm.
mission accomplished
Yeah.
because everyone loves to laugh.
Yes.
And so if totally love the ridiculousness of it. And I think maybe that's part of it. You should kind of go through phases where you're like, okay, I may not want to read it right now. Like for example, there's a book called Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, and it's a Christian book.
Mhm,
I tried to read it in college. I couldn't get into it. I'm like, man, I couldn't get into it. I read it a few years later
Love it.
One of my favorite books.
What?
It's crazy because, and then when I talk to other people, they're like, oh my gosh, the same thing happened to me. I tried to read it and I couldn't get through it. And then I read it a few months or a few years later, and it's amazing.
Wow.
And so it's just we kind of go through, excuse me,
Phases.
through our stages and phases. And so maybe you'll go back into your happy fantasy soon.
Maybe that's what I read most of my life. I
Yeah.
never really read like not even really romance. It was always just fantasy. I mean, yeah, romantasy, but not even just like romance or thriller. I just dove into those pretty much all this year. So
Mhm. Yeah,
maybe that's it.
it's good stuff. It's good
Mhm.
stuff. I love reading like the wholesome
Mhm.
romance. You know,
Mhm.
those are good to get you out of a funk. And
Yeah.
then, you know, you have the dark romance or mafia romance, and you're like on the edge of your seat. You're like, oh my God, what is about to happen? Like I'll talk to my brother about it. He's like, you're such a nerd. I'm like, I'm sorry. I have to finish it. I just need to know why.
It's a good. Have you read this book? It's called The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer.
Hmm.
Did you read it?
Mm-mm.
I have to say, it probably has been my favorite book this year.
Okay.
I highly recommend looking into it. The story is so unique.
Yeah.
And it was just such like a, I don't know, like the whole time I was just smiling and happy reading it.
Yeah.
It's really unique story. I've never read anything like it. I mean, I'm sure there's other books like that out there, but first for me, and I loved it. It has some fantasy,
Yeah.
but I guess it's not heavy fantasy.
Yeah.
The story itself is, I don't want to give it away. Just read the
No, it's out. Let me pull out one of my many notebooks.
It was so cute.
I love it.
Mhm.
Okay. The Lost Story.
Yeah, it's by Meg Schaefer. And I'm really sad because I'm hoping that another book comes out for it, but I don't know. Because
Yeah.
I didn't want that story to end. That was the kind of book for me. Like I wanted to go on and on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how yours truly was for me.
Mhm.
Like I was so upset that there wasn't a sequel and a third one and a fourth one and a fifth one. Like I was just so enthralled with
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And I called my sister-in-law. She was the one who recommended it to me. And I said, I'm mad at you. Why isn't there another one? She's like, what are you talking about?
No.
She's like, I have no control. And I'm like, it was just that good. Like
Mhm.
when, and I hope and I pray that I get to that point in my writing where someone will want that, right?
Mhm.
You know, where they're like, I need you to keep going, like keep just making stuff up
I know.
because that's how it was for me.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
just the character building and the relationships,
Mhm.
just it was just that good. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm gonna look into that.
well, what what else do you have for me, Abby? Because I need you to make it happen.
Oh, that's good.
I'm like, do I need to start a petition?
Right?
I mean, she did such a fantastic job. And I bought another book of hers a couple of days ago just for the summer. And I have a trip next week and I'm going to take the book with me and I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish it in no time
Yeah.
because when I'm a fast reader
Nice.
And if you get me, like if you get your claws
Oh yeah, I know.
in my little brain with a book, like I will disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Like you lost me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
until I finish. And then, you know, I just I loved her for the book, for the story, for the hope as well. I mean, she talks about the Mayo Clinic, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where we were basically living for a
Oh
few
wow.
months. So I was like, oh, I'm like, me and Abby are friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're such a weirdo.
That's funny.
But it's just, when you find a book that just it speaks to you, you know what I mean? It really makes a difference. And so that that book really inspired me to put pen to paper and
Whenever
and
you're ready.
write Heidi's story and write her future. And so I hope that I can continue,
Mhm.
um, and we'll see where it goes.
Nice.
God's in control. He'll guide me.
Yes.
He'll let me know if it's time to be like, yeah, it's time to hang up the pen. Stop writing.
Well, I'm happy that you published your first book.
Thank
Um,
you.
That does take a lot of courage, really, to be able to sit and write, complete, and then hit publish.
Yeah.
Um, so good
I was
job.
like, do I do it? Do I do it? Do I click?
I'm glad you did.
Thank
I'll
you.
publish your book and reading it very soon.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited, and it has been so great talking to you.
Yes, yes.
I'm so glad I found you.
We'll definitely have some more chats. I know I kept you on
Yes.
for a while. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you
And
for having me.
you take care. And I'll
You
talk to you.
too. All right.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Bookish Spell. I hope you enjoyed our magical bookish journey together. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to leave a review. It really helps. I'll be back next Wednesday with more enchanting stories and author insights. Until next time, keep the magic alive in your hearts and on your bookshelves.